Alrighty, so the next level of dimensional analysis and conversions is when we deal with I would like to call complex units. And so complex units are any kind of a unit that's just not a simple straight going from one unit to another, but rather ones that are more complex in the sense that maybe you have a unit that's got a numerator and denominator or something like that. So the first example that I want to give you is a problem which has a unit that's got a numerator and a denominator. And I want you to notice that with this unit, 0.027 is in grams per milliliter. And I want to convert that to nanograms per liter. So it's got a numerator and a denominator. And each of the numerator and denominator, each are changing units from one to another. So you've got to change both. You've got to change grams into nanograms. You've got to change milliliters into liters. So we need to know what those relationships are. And again, we look at our staircase and we see that the relationship between a gram and a nanogram is such that a gram is bigger than a nanogram. How many times? 1 billion times bigger. So for every 1 gram, there's 1 billion nanograms. Or you could say that for every nanogram, for every billion nanograms, there's 1 gram. So we've got to figure out which of those two that we need. And then milliliters to liters, again, staircase. For every 1 liter, there's 1,000 milliliters, and for every 1,000 milliliters is a liter. And we need to figure out which of those two that we need. Now, what makes this more complex is that the unit that you have has got a numerator and a denominator. And how we change the numerator is exactly the way that we've been doing it before, but how we change the denominator is actually the flip of that. So let me show you how that works. So let's first do the numerator. And you can start with the numerator or the denominator. I just want to start with one, and I'll start with the numerator. So the numerator needs to change from grams to nanograms. And notice, again, we've got grams. And the only way to cancel out grams is to have grams in the parentheses here, right? You see how it cancels out. These grams cancel these grams, leaving you with nanograms on top. And so in this case, what you want does go on top because we need nanograms on top. So that's the first thing that we did. We took care of the numerator of it. Now let's take a look at the denominator. Now in the denominator's case, we have to go from milliliters to liters. Now it's in the denominator, right? It's right here on the bottom. So how am I going to cancel out the denominator? Well, I can't cancel out a denominator with a denominator. Just like in math class, numerators cancel out denominators and denominators cancel out numerators, right? So we've got it in the denominator as milliliters. So which one of these two is going to have that cancel out? Well, in this case, the milliliters are on the bottom. We need to cancel out with milliliters on the top because in this case, the liters are what we want on the bottom. So that's our next set of parentheses right there. So the 1,000 milliliters over 1 liter. So grams cancel grams, giving you nanograms on the top, which is what we want. And milliliters cancels out milliliters on top, leaving you with liters on the bottom. So what it's saying is that we have to take 0.0927 times 1 billion, then times 1,000. And that leaves us with 9.27 times 10 to the 10th. And our units are nanograms per liter, which is exactly what we want. So that's our first example of a complex unit. Example 2 will be another example, which I will show you in a moment.